control on my person.
Recording in progress.
Okay, good. Word Essentials. So today's lesson is to introduce you to Microsoft Word. Probably most of you have used Microsoft Word, but if you haven't, here's your introduction to Microsoft Word. So we got some nice little icons that are showing on the screen. The idea is to give you the understanding that Word's been around for a long time. So that is good because it has evolved. It's got better, more useful, we think, and more. It certainly takes a lot more space on your hard drives or whatever when you install it. But yeah, it's a fairly powerful package. There's a lot of things you can do in Word. So you see that actually when it first was introduced there, it says there that's 1983 to 1987. There were other word processor packages that were quite popular and actually more popular than Word, more used. So there was a company called Wordperfect, and that was a company, and all they did was make a word processor. And it was pretty good word processor. There was also another company called Lotus 123, and all they made was a spreadsheet. And it was a pretty good spreadsheet. But you see that what Microsoft's business strategy is to bring all that together, and they have a bunch of tools that they call Office, and we're in our latest. Now we have Office 365, which you buy on the cloud and you download it, and then you have to have some kind of payment. So you have a key that you use, and yeah, that's where we are now. So Word is wrapped into the Office suite. We'll call that a suite of products, and yeah, it's the good thing about having a suite of products like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access, is that they have a consistency. That is, the way that you do many of the commands is the same in each one, and so the learning between one application and another within the suite is less time required. And the other thing is, I would say that Word has kept consistency as it's changed from version to version. So as we get to our later versions, the ribbons will look different. You'll see that today, because the slide that I noticed when it shows the ribbon for the what you should see at the top of your screen when you're using Microsoft Word, that has changed from the last version till this version. But things are more or less in the same place, but they look a little bit different. And so that's something that you have to sort of watch out for. This is what we're supposed to do today. So welcome to those people who just arrived a few minutes late. But this is what we're going to do. We're going to introduce Word Basic. Then we're going to look at some features, some things that we can do in Word. Some of these things are text alignment, putting pictures and videos in, printing tables, and we've got some other things there. So the point of this slide is kind of to help you so that you can go ahead and work with Word at home. Make sure that you get all your assignments and labs done. Now you can do your labs here, and you should be able to just log in with your account, your student account, and you should have access to the Office 365. Now that's the thing, logging in using your student ID email account. So using that one, you have access. I guess you'd say, you do pay fees to come to the university, and the university's bought for you access to use the Office 365. If you don't have it at home, you can download it and you can install it using your credentials from this. And actually there is, so I'll refer you to this video, which I'm not going to go through, but as it says, it's in the news in D2L. I better make sure it is there, but you can download that. That gives you instructions on how to download Office onto. So it's Office, it's not just Word. So that'll come with Word, with Excel, and with PowerPoint. And I don't know about Access yet. So that's the thing with Office 365. You can get the basic sort of package, and that's going to be Word and Excel, and I think PowerPoint. Or you can get a more enhanced one, so like a power user, and they would have Access and some other applications going with it as well. So as it says, that could be a big download because you'll have to install it onto your laptop or computer, whatever you're using. So that could take some time. But as I say, it's perfectly legal and it's perfectly free to you. It's not free. I mean, the college is paid to buy a group account for all the students and staff. So there's another video. I'm not going to show you videos. I do encourage you to sort of look through the PowerPoint, find those videos and watch them. But yeah, I mean, this is enough video for me, I think. Some of the things we need to do is create a document. How do we create a document in Word? So if you're in Word, if you've opened up Word, you can go to the File menu and you can just go New, and then you can choose. The cool thing there is that you have a lot of these templates ready for you. So you're like, oh, I want to make a resume. You'd be able to find a resume in there, right? I want to make a table of contents, etc. Or you just want a blank one that you want to format it the way you want. So fully customized, and you just click on it, and there you are. You've got a Word document. Now, nothing will be done with that document until you save it. You know, well, you could print without saving, but also in the File menu, you'll find a print. Now, in this course, in this lecture, you'll see there's a lot of shortcuts that are mentioned. So I'm going to the File menu here, and I'm choosing the Save As, right? The new document. So I would save as. You pick a place where you want to save that document, and then you give it a name, and then you just save it, and it'll be saved there. I'm not going to save that because it's a rubbish document, but do that first, and then do the work that you're going to do. Now, in today's exercise, you'll see I've got two exercises for you to do. It actually specifies what the name is that you should use for the files. And it's a name with your student number in it, and then, you know, exercise 3 or exercise 4 or whatever. Now, notice here, this is a shortcut, Control N. I went to when I did that, creating a new document just there, I went to the File menu and then found the new document, right? Now, you don't have to do that. You could just hold down the Control key and press N, and then you get a new document. So that's the thing with the shortcut keys. It does happen faster. There's a bunch of shortcut keys for you to use. That's just one of them. All right, so let's get back to the presentation. Right. Saving a document as well. You can do it from File. Now you've got two different saves. You've got the Save or Save As. What Save will do is it just updates the current file. And so any changes that you've made since last time, that will be written onto the file. Sometimes you want to keep the old unupdated file because there was something about it and you just want to make some changes to it and then use it as another file. If you want to do that, you'll do a Save As and you'll change the name. When you do Save As, you can also change the location of the file. So this is all kind of basic stuff, right? I mean, you all know this, right? So you're probably wondering why I'm droning on here, right? All right, so if I go and do a Save As, you will be asked to give it a new name or even a new location. And so I probably need to talk a little faster because I don't want to make you go to sleep. There is a couple of ways of doing that faster. You can do it with a Control S, or you can use the F key, the function key F12. Now, this little activity here, you are supposed to do this. Now, when I had a look at this symbol is not actually sort of available in an easy way. But what I found the best way that I could do that is if I was in a Word document. So maybe you've done this before, but if you go into the Insert menu, you can insert a lot of things. And so one of the things that you can insert is a picture. Now, you can insert pictures from where you are. I don't want that. I want to insert from online. There we go, online pictures. So if you choose Insert from online pictures, then maybe through Bing, you can find something like the image that you want, which I think is some kind of star image. Yeah, okay, it wasn't. Anyways, you get the idea. There's oh yeah, it's kind of like that. Anyways, you can get some sort of fancy stuff. You get the one you want, and then you just insert it. I think that's kind of what they wanted you to do, and then you can resize it. After you've resized it, there's lots of effects that you can have on it. You see that there? The other thing that you can do is you can go and you can place it in a different place by using the alignment buttons. There's a lot of things like that that you can do. I'm just sort of trying to introduce that to you, right? But be careful with that when you're doing that. If you so I'm going to do a Control X now. You guys used that before? Control X cuts it. So why I'd want to cut it is so that make sure that I got some space above it so that I can do some editing above it. And then I can do that. Now, also, there's different parts of the document. You see, if I go up here, if I click, if I click up in the top there, I have some different stuff going on there. Then down here, see how that, so there's two parts there. There's a header. You click up there, you got a header. And when you click on the header, you got a footer. Now, the thing about the header and footer, they're only once per document. So if you have a multi-page document, many pages in it, you put stuff on the header and that'll show on every page. That's a good place to put sort of, that like your name or something like that. Sorry? How did I get there? I just clicked on it. So all I do to get to the header, just go up into that area and click above there and you'll be in the header. And you'll see that the main body of the page will go. So that's actually, we'll get to that in a bit. So I inserted a picture. You can do that. I only showed you one way of inserting a picture, which is searching for it online. We have the online pictures. You may have pictures other places. So suppose you have your, you bring onto every time you bring your Samsung or your Apple phone near to your computer, you have some kind of Bluetooth thing that brings all your pictures onto your laptop. Some people do that. So if you did that, you could insert pictures from your laptop into Word. Any image you want, you can insert in there. And if it's on your phone and you can't get it, and it isn't coming onto your computer to do that, it's easy to get it there. You can just, as I said, use a cloud thing like OneDrive or something like that. Put it in OneDrive and you'll be able to open it between the different machines. Or you could send it to yourself. There's lots of different ways you could do it. Let's continue here. So you're going to do that. There's two activities today. One is this one where you're going to create a new file. You're going to do some things like put this picture in there and you're going to save the document. Now, there is the Z drive thing. I'm not going to worry too much about the Z drive. If you can find the Z drive to save things, that's great. As long as you have it in a place where you know where it is. I'll show you what I mean by the Z drive though, I think. Yeah, if I go to my my documents, I think, yeah, network. No, that's not going to work. It's turned off. Oh well, so I guess I'm not going to do that. Use OneDrive. It works pretty good. Right, continue. Save as. What's the difference between save as? You save as, you make a different name, or you could make the same name and put it in a different place. But I wouldn't do that because then you got two copies of the same file that have different stuff in them. You're going to have a problem with that. So every time I do a save as, I give it a different name, even if I put it in a different place. Right. So there's various different files. When I say there's various different files, if you looked at the directory at the actual files that you've saved, should we do that? I suppose we could. So if I find a Word file, yeah, I put one in documents, right? So is there a Word file there? Here's a Word file. So if you have any file you want to look at it, you can look at its properties. And so in the properties, it should have the full file name there. Problem solving 6. So there it is. Do you see that? It has the type of document it is. In this case, it's so small you can't see it, can you? I promise you, right here it says DOCX. So that means that it's a Microsoft Word file, and that actually says here what type is it, how do you open it, that type of thing. So I'm only showing you that because here it tells us that we've got multiple types of files that we can use with Microsoft Word. So that's the one that I just looked at, which is a DOCX file. That's your standard Microsoft file. Now, when I say Microsoft Word file standard, that's a Microsoft Word file from a recent version of Microsoft Word. If you picked up a file that was created by Microsoft Word in 1990 or something like that, it wouldn't be a DOCX file. It'd just be a .doc file. So I think we've got that there. Yeah. So our legacy Microsoft Word files, they're .doc files, and you can edit them. Actually, in Microsoft Word, you can edit flat files. What we call a flat file is an unedited, so a file without any markup in it. That would be like a text file. You can edit them in Microsoft Word. It doesn't mention them here. Macros. So what a macro is, I don't know if you've come across these before, but what it is it's a little sort of tiny computer program that will sort of automate things. So you could create a macro. You can do this in Microsoft Word very easily. It also happens a lot in Microsoft Excel. So what a macro is you actually create a bunch of keystrokes. So it's like a script. You create a bunch of keystrokes, you save them, and then you can repeat them whenever you want. So those keystrokes might do something with changing the formats, insert a table, copy some stuff from here and there, that type of thing. So macros can be quite useful. We're not going to cover those in this course, but just to tell you that if you see a file like that, it's got macros in it. I told you that legacy, when I use that word, I mean things from old systems before that we don't use anymore. So the old system before is like the 1990 something Word versions. They produce files now. I hope it wouldn't surprise you, but as we've got newer and newer versions of Word, the files have got bigger and they've got more complicated. And that's because there's more features in the newer versions of Word. So the old versions of Word documents, they didn't have some of the fancy stuff that we've got in them now. And so what that means is you can do a save as, and you can save your Microsoft Word file as the old style. But if you do, you'll lose some of the formatting. You know what I mean? So because you have to have the new style to actually hold those formatting instructions. A template, you saw templates a minute ago when I went to create a new file. Do you remember seeing all those templates? A template is something where you've sort of standardized a Word document that you're just going to sort of take that like a skeleton and add things to it. And so it's going to be repeated many times. Macro template. Portable document format. I don't know if you've seen these PDFs. Now, PDF, the idea of PDFs has got a few things going with it. One of the things why it's popular in the first place is PDFs can be shown on a web page without any any extra work by the browser. If you load a Word file up onto a web page, and you can do that, then what will happen is they'll have to open a new page or they'll have to download it. It's a bit of extra work to get that Word document that's sitting on the server as a Word document into a format that people can use it. So there's a couple of extra steps. On the other hand, if you upload a PDF file to a Word page, as soon as you open the browser to that page, it opens up just like a web page. It's just like HTML. As far as the browser is concerned, it will use it. So that's a benefit of PDF. Another benefit of PDF is the files are not easy to edit. If you want to edit a PDF file, you have to get a PDF editor. And as far as I haven't been able to edit, there's some basic things that you might be able to do with Word on it, but there's not really very much. So all the standard features that you saw, all the formatting and that, you're not going to be able to just go in there to a PDF file and change it. So I mentioned that's a good thing. How is that a good thing? Wouldn't you rather just be able to do that? Well, this way you've got a document which could have some legal standing, I suppose. So people will create PDF files, and PDF files, you can create them with your scanner. And so they'll include your signature. You know what I mean? So you can create a PDF, create a Word document, print it, sign it, scan it, and save the scan as a PDF and send that to somebody. Or you could just save your Word file as a PDF. Maybe you've got some kind of electronic signature going. A lot of people have electronic signatures going, but the thing is, with the PDF, somebody else is not going to be able to change it easily. And then we'll be able to see if they have. So yeah, PDF files. You don't edit PDF files in Word. You can save as a PDF file. All right, so this is the, I think this is maybe previous version of Word, because when I look at the version that I've got here, it's not quite the same. That's okay. It's kind of the same, but not quite the same, right? And I know that's kind of small for you. So let's make it a bit bigger. If I make it bigger, no, all that does is make the Word page bigger. It doesn't make the ribbon bigger. So actually, the ribbon is almost the same. It just has a slightly different look, which I guess the engineers that work for Microsoft who created these, they thought this is a better look. But basically, most of the things, almost all the things that you see that you could in this in our PowerPoint are the same here. So let's look at them. What some of the things go over to the left. We have our home page. There's a file page that's under there. Insert, all kinds of things you can insert into a document. So I just showed you a minute ago inserting a image from the web. Page layout. The basic page layout choices is landscape and portrait. So the layout is going to be how this page is going to be put onto a screen and how it's going to be put onto a printer. There are some advantages of having our normal documents. It's just a bunch of words. We usually do that in a portrait, right? So it's taller than it is wide, because that's how our A4 page looks. But sometimes we'll have tables, and that's just not going to work very well. Some tables work really good in that format, but sometimes we need the portrait format where it's wider, not the portrait, the landscape format, where it's wider than it is tall. And so, yeah, you've got a choice of doing that. And that'll references. Oh, references is so good. So good for you guys, because you are doing a degree, right? This is no more Mickey Mouse high school stuff or little college stuff, right? You're doing a degree. So when you do a degree, you have to do references. You have to do some research. And when you do research, you have to cite your references. The references in Microsoft Word are so good. I really, really like it. So you've got some stuff, you're typing along there and you say, this came from Joe Blogs and somewhere and so land. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a reference. But before I insert the reference, first so you see that there, insert a citation. So firstly, I can do is I've got a bunch of styles I can choose from, right? So that will be determined by where you're studying. So here at the college, I don't know what the university, I think it was MLA, but you better check with your teachers when you hand in a assignment, what is the style that we use for our references, and they'll tell you. Or it should be online somewhere. Sorry, it's APA. Okay, APA, which is the American Psychology Association. First one, there you go, 6th edition. So just go and set it to that. You just go and set it to that. And then when you want to make a citation, I guess we just insert citation. So we need to add a new source because we've never used this author before. So we're going to add a new source. And then you have to choose, well, where did I get this reference from? Did I get it from a book? Did I get it from a journal? And, you just put in the details, the title, the name, what journal, what year. Sorry. And pages. And so this came from a journal. Now, it'll look differently depending on which one of those you choose. So when you do it, make sure you choose the right one. right? So if you just got something from the web, don't say journal. If you got it out of a book, you have to say what chapter, it looks different depending on which one you got. I just say that I got it from a journal because you guys are in a university, and so most of your references are going to come from journals, right? Yeah, good luck. Well, yeah, there are journals available. So what will happen is you'll get this nice citation like that, which says this is the author and this is the date. And then if you go to the bottom of your document, you can, at the end, when you're finished, you can just go and insert your references or bibliography, however you like, and that'll show up at the end. Isn't that awesome? I like that so much. And somebody else already showed you that, right? In which course? Communications or something? Oh, great. Do use it, right? Don't be sort of just pasting in there URLs, links from the web internet. As I said, at high school, that might work, but at university, it's got to be like this. All right, so there's the references. What else we got? Mailings. I think that's going to be like, I don't know. It's not something that we have to work on. I think it's going to be what we call merge documents. So what you do is you have two parts, where one is like a database. It could just come from an Excel spreadsheet or something. Could be hundreds or thousands of names and stuff. And the other one is like a pro forma document. When you do the thing, it puts them together. And so you got a bunch of letters that can go out. Pretty awesome. Review. So with the review, that will show you mistakes that you've made. So review is going to include spelling and grammar. It's got grammar now. No excuse, right? No excuse. So review is going to be helpful to you. You got different views, so you can put it on a view where you can't do editing, or you can put it in a page view. Now, design is context sensitive. What that means is the design menu will change depending on what kind of object you're pointed at when you click the design button. So if you're in a table and you click and you pull down the design menu, it'll give you the table design. If you're just in a paragraph, it'll give you the paragraph design. Okay, all of that right? Yeah, all right. So good. Entering and deleting text. Yeah. So you can do that, I think. I'm not even going to go through that. It's just go and find yourself a place in the document and start typing, right? And deleting text. Yeah. So there's I'm typing. And deleting text. Yeah, just backspace works. Or you can highlight. You can highlight and you can Control X or delete, hit the delete key. There's usually about 5 different ways to do everything. So I just, so deleting, I can backspace, I can highlight it and hit the delete key. I could highlight it and hit the Control X key, in which case I could paste it somewhere else because Control X is a cut and paste. Or I could just do a Control D. Control D is delete. Why would you do that? You got a delete key, right? That's the thing. I'm not saying one way is wrong or one's right. You might feel comfortable doing all the shortcuts. Because you just hold down the Control key and press, that's nice. Or you might feel comfortable just doing the things from the menu. It's okay. Whatever works for you, right? So there's some selection things. So the idea here is if you find yourself if you put your cursor in the middle of a word and you double click, it'll highlight the word. If you move your cursor to the left margin outside a line and then you click, then it'll highlight the whole line. If you go to a sentence and hold down the Control key and then click anywhere in that sentence, then it'll highlight the whole sentence. So this is easier than having to do a click drag over it. You could, if you could just highlight, click drag highlight, but these are just ways to make it easier. Like I said, with all of these Microsoft Office applications, there's like 3 or 4 ways of doing everything. And you find the way that you want to do it. These are sort of quick ways to do it, right? Multiple lines, click and drag, paragraph, triple click, anywhere inside the paragraph. These are just little cheats to make your life a bit. How about that? Control and A is going to highlight the entire document. And maybe you have to hold down the plus key too. Anyways, experiment with that, see which one of those is. I think probably you do have to pull down that. Non-contiguous means that if you've got sentences or paragraphs that are separated by other sentences or paragraphs. So I got a sentence up here, I got another sentence here, I got a sentence down here. I don't want this sentence, but I want these two sentences. Then we use the control key as we're doing our selections. So you do control and select one, then you go and control, you're still holding the control key and select the other ones. And that way you can just get things out of order. That's pretty nice. I already mentioned cut, control X, control C, control V. I bet you've already used those, right? And moving on. Okay, yeah, there they are. I'm not going to talk about that because you all use those. And I bet you all use this too, right? Go back and so we got undo and we got redo. I went back, but I decided I didn't want to go back. So yeah, go that one. Control Y, repeat. What else we got? Control Z is another. So there's shortcuts. These are doing the same thing as the slide before. So if you didn't want to use that little thing up there, you can, there's so many things with the control keys you can do, right? Control Z, control Y. There you go. Awesome. Bunch of different fonts. Now, according to the notes, there's a default font, which is 11. I can't remember the name of it. It's one that started with a C. Yeah, that one, Calibri. But you can use these other ones. Now, there's some theory behind it. If you see it says there's sans serif or there's serif. So a serif font means that you got curly, but you guys don't know this stuff. I see. Anyway, so there's some theory on that. Some people say do your headings in sans serif, and do your body in serif. You know, if you're reading text on a page, on paper, it's printed out. Some people say, well, it's easier to read that if it's a serif font. Apparently. On the other hand, if you're looking on a screen, some people say it's easier to read that if it's a sans serif font. You decide. You'll sort of experiment around with it and you'll get something going that works for you. So there is a little exercise that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to create this. There's a file to download, which I put a link there. And then you're supposed to follow the instructions. And then you're supposed to hand that in. You've used these things, bold, italic, underline. And again, there's 5 different ways of doing that, right? Control B for bold. All right. Or you could, the easiest way to do it, I think, is from the once you've got your text, you can home. Yeah, you've got a bunch of different ways you can do it there. Bold, italic, underline. Let's do it there. So I want that italic and bold and underlined. Why not? All right. Keep going, keep going. We don't want to stay here all day doing this. Yes, okay. So Format Painter, have you used that little paint? That's really cool. I really like the little paint. So this saves you a lot of formatting time. So what do I mean by that? So got my document here. I've already, not that one. Sorry. This one. So I got my document there and I went to a lot of trouble of getting this format here just exactly right. And so when I've got it right, what I want to do is I want to use that format down here as well. So I'll just highlight and I will find the Format Painter here somewhere. Where's my format? Is that what it looks like now? No, that's a erase. Oh, here it is. And then, so I've got that Format Painter on. I highlight the new thing and it comes out looking the same. Format Painter is awesome. So I use that a lot. You guys probably will use it a lot as well. You already do that, right? I didn't get the enthusiastic yes from like we did with the other one. Yeah, all right, yeah. So that means I can just keep going. Format Painter, use Format Painter. And there's some this is the exercise that you're supposed to do. You can do all of this, right? Yes, because that's your exercise you're going to do. What do we got here? You use these before, alignment. So you can type a bunch of stuff and you can make it go to the left, or you can make it go to the right, or you can make it go to the center, or you can have it justified. You know what I mean by justified? Justified is this one, so the edges are all squared. And also you can work with how close or how far away the lines are from each other. I use that a lot to make the page look better. We've got this indenting thing, right? You can indent or outdent. We got some other sort of things there for if you want to. These ones here, you see the dots and the numbers. You can have button. What do you call it? Are they dot points, or you can have numbered lists. So if you're going to have numbered lists, you've got different ways of showing those numbered lists. Isn't that cool? In the paragraph menu. So the paragraph menu is where? So when we're in the home, you can see it. Oh, well, it's all here. So it's this thing here. This is the paragraph menu. There's all the things. We got some other things that you can see in the paragraph menu. I don't know if you can see that there, but we got a sort arrow. You see the sort arrow? So that if you've got a list of things, you can sort them into order. You can make them go from A to B, or you can to A to Z, or from Z to A. You can change that around. We also got these little special thing here, which is your paragraph symbol. You can show paragraph symbol or not. So the reason for that is so that you can see when you're at the end of a paragraph. The end of a paragraph is different than the end of a line. And that's quite important for the way you format your document, which I'm not going to talk about a lot now, but it's there. Let's continue. Okay, there's some other fast ways of doing the alignment. You saw the alignment in the paragraph menu at the top there, right? And the ribbon, where we just click the buttons to get the paragraph alignment. Here's another way of doing it. Now this one here is the space between, you can have space between lines and you can have space between paragraphs, right? And so this one here, you can add or remove space between paragraphs. 1.0 just means whatever the font size is, that the space will be the same as that font size. 1.15 means the space will be 15% bigger than this font size. So if you want a lot of space between your lines or your paragraphs, this is the way to do it. And you can see that it's in this tab thing here. Sorry, it's in this menu thing here. This is the paragraph menu thing. That's kind of fun. I use that a lot, especially if I've got a document that doesn't have much words in it and it looks kind of dumb on a page. Yeah, you space it out. There's a video there that you can watch about putting captions and pictures in. So once you've got a picture in there, you can add a caption, right? By right-clicking on the picture. Can we see that? Let's see. I got a picture in one of these, right? So apparently you can right-click. So we're up here at the moment, I'm in the header. If I go back into the body of the thing and I find my image, then I right-click on it. Apparently there's a caption thing here. You see the caption? Say this picture, resource. Maybe it's in format. Should have practiced this before. Oh, there it is. Insert caption. See it? So if I insert a caption, then you can just put a word, figure one. This is my caption. I mean, I couldn't remember where that was. You know what I mean? And I didn't practice it before. But doesn't matter. If you got a couple extra minutes, you can be able to see it, right? You got to find it. Don't be too worried about it. Obviously, I don't think it's that important that I had to memorize it because I knew I could find it. Well, the other thing is you can't find it. So then what? Oh my God, I don't know how to do this thing in Word. What should I do? I don't know. I'll go onto YouTube and I'll put in a search. How do you do this in Word? 4 minutes later, I'm an expert. And it's the same for you, right? There's so many people that will tell you how to do it. So don't worry about that. All right, so free images. I showed you how to get an image by doing the online image insert. Here's some other stuff about it. You can follow that link and find where you got a bunch more images that you can use. So free images, I guess that implies that there are some images that are not free. I've never paid for an image. Now, what do we mean by inserting links? I guess that probably means a hyperlink. And so how would we do that? So existing file web page. Well, let's see. Another one that I should have practiced before I came. Okay, so let's see if we can put in a link. So if I highlighted something, And let's do an insert. I bet it'd be an insert. And there'll be a link thing here somewhere. You see a link? There we go. See, as I said, you don't have to memorize it. I didn't know that link thing was there, but I guessed it might be. And so there it is. And then you're going to say the text is going to be display that. And then you put in a web address, so I don't know. So when I put that, I'm going to go to Amazon.com. See if that'll work. Why not? So now I got this and it shows like that. But if I control and click, not going to work on me. Went all red. But I mean, that's the idea. Oh, does seem to work. There you go. Here I am in Amazon. All right. Anyway, so now you know what I'm buying on Amazon. That was a bad idea. So I don't know why you'd want to do. Yeah, of course there's a reason you want to do that, right? You send a document to people that they're not going to print, but they're going to view it on their computer, and you want to give them a link. So you can just do it like that. Insert a link, and that kind of works. And as I said, I mean, to be honest, I've never done that. So you can figure it out. I mean, it's kind of, it's yeah, it's intuitive, right? Another one is pasted in. All right, so what you're going to do now is you're going to do activity 4. So you will find on D2L 2 documents to download. One's activity 3 and one's activity 4. You do activity 3 and then you do activity 4. Now, activity 4 is going to be a little bit trickier because you got a lot of formatting that you got to do in the page. And so you're going to be doing things with headers and footers and all kinds of sort of nice formatting. So that's going to be a bit more challenging, but you guys are up to it, right? Yes, D2L, I've got Dropbox for both of those. If it's on D2L, I'll mark it. And then it's up to the other teacher if she puts it in her mark book or not. I think she will. I don't have a mark book to do it, but have you put anything on D2L yet in the Dropbox? And then I put a mark beside it. Yeah. And so my idea is that the other teacher, when she comes, which is like 2 weeks from now, she'll see that she's got access to the D2L and she can take that and put it in her mark book. Yeah, labs are worth, so these are like labs, right? So that labs are worth 10% of the course or something. So yeah, so on activity 4, you've got a bit of work to do, adding pictures of the Emir, getting it all formatted right, doing your alignment. There's a header and a footer that you got to put in. It's a little bit of work, okay?
Where are the instructions for it?
The instructions are on D2L. Okay, so D2L instructions. Sorry, where's my D2L? Here. D2L, you'll see these documents here, right? Week 2. So there's activity 3, and then there's activity 4. And I've actually put links to them there in the news. So there's your activity 3. When you click on that, it should take you to the document which has got instructions. Yeah, there's the instructions.
Activity 4.
Isn't it the same? So activity 4. Isn't there a bunch of instructions there? No. Oh.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying. So what we've got is this very badly formatted thing. So I think what I have to do with activity 4 is I have to show you what it looks like. So let me undo this. Let me make it so it's not hidden. And so, yeah, so go and look at this one, activity 4, answer key. Such a good question, thank you. Because otherwise you're right, you wouldn't have been able to do it in the right way. Now the problem with that is I should have made this a PDF. Because if it's a Word document, you can see the problems with that. Is this a PDF? Let's see. Yes, it is. So that means that you're not going to be able to just copy it and paste it and call it your own, right? So there you go. That's the document that you're supposed to do something like that. Doesn't have to be exactly that picture, but you should have, you can see you've got a a bunch of formatting that you have to do for Access 5. And so you do have a view that you're supposed to look at. Is that fine? We all good now? You can find it. So let me just go in here to our thing here, and I'm going to change this. And for activity 4, I'm going to put what it looks like. Okay, there you go. So you can download that and you can see what it's supposed to look like. Thank goodness it was a PDF. Otherwise, you'd just copy it. I know. All right. So printing, couple ways you can do that. Obviously, you can find the print menu under files. Under the file menu, there's a print, or you can do a Control P. That works. Oh, we really got to work with indents. I mean, indents should be a whole lesson on its own, right? So I'm not going to talk too much about that, but we can set our margins up with these indents. You got left indent and right indent, and it's actually, I don't want to talk about that too much because it takes a bit too long, but you can click and drag these things. And so this thing here is setting up your left indents where they're going to be, where things are going to be on the page. It's kind of cool. Yes. Just like the diagram, it's just like the instruction says, they look at the answer that is got in PDF and make it look like that. Try and make your Word document look like that. Different pictures though. Sorry? Look for activity 4 answer. Look at that, and then you're supposed to make yours look like that. What? What? Yeah, there's also instructions in the presentation. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Now with the tables, I've given you 2 videos on how to do tables. So I'm going to kind of leave you with that. So just click and drag. Again, you're going to find your tables thing. You've got a insert and then insert table to create a new table. And then when you do that, you get to choose what size table you want. And if you look at the videos, there's other ways of making tables. You can sort of make tables out of data that's just been organized there. And if you look at the videos, it tells you how to do the formatting of tables, adding columns, deleting columns, all of that kind of stuff. So I don't think I'll go into that here, but yeah. So there's a bunch about tables. So you have to do tables. I've given you 2 videos to watch on tables. Yeah. So as it says, watch a video on tables. So you can do that. So the views, as it says there, you can have it in read mode, which allows you to read but not edit it. You can have it in print layout, so you can print it and change it to web layout, how it would look on a web page. So you can actually save it so that it can go on the web page. Outline and draft. Headers and footers are kind of important. I showed you a header already because we had the header here, and all I had to do is click on it, right? And then I put stuff in there. But you can also, I think, probably if you go to insert, you can insert a header or a footer. And that might be an easier way of doing it. But certainly with the footer, or if you insert a footer, you've got a lot of different views of a footer that you can have. The real power of a footer is you can put page numbers on it and stuff like that. So experiment around with that. This is a common one. You're going to use this as a footer. And so you'll say that this is your student number. And then you might have the name of the document. And then here in the last one, you might say, okay, so here I'm going to put here I'm going to go into my insert, and I'm going to insert a page number. And I've got different ways that I can do the page number. I'm going to put it right where it is now, right? And so how I'm going to do it Well, yeah, just like that, something like that. And then when we go from page to page, so as you see, I'm editing the footer. And let's make this a lot smaller. So now I got a footer there. If I go to a new page, the footer is still there, right? The header and the footer are there. I don't have to, never have to type it again. But when I get to the next page, it says page 2 automatically because I use the page number. Isn't that cool? So that's something that you'll probably want to do. I would do that. I mean, if you have a multi-page document, yeah, put a footer on it. And it's easy to find. The page number is something that you'll use, just as I did there. And I think that's enough from me. What do you think? Because you already know all this stuff, right? So you know what to do. I was told by one of the students up here that the instructions are actually in the spread in the PowerPoint. So you can go back and look at that. You've also got the video to look at. You've also got the completed document in a PDF that you can look at. And so with that, I shall stop recording and stop